the scientific capacity development for adaptation planning, and knowledge sharing at the regional and the sub-regional levels are the most important activities to be implemented. Activities in focus by the adaptation network and platform falls under three main components. First, generation of new knowledge on climate change adaptation. Second, translation of science to policy relevant knowledge. And third, working toward an effective knowledge sharing system at the regional and national levels. Ladies and gentlemen, for Thailand, I wish to ensure you that we take adaptation at heart and we are ready to lend further support to this kind of activities. And that urgency is a signal in every occasion to raise the awareness of the world community of the new risks induced by climate change. And as the Minister of the Science and Technology of the Kingdom of Thailand, I can tell you that climate change is among the top priority of our ministry. It is an issue that I am personally involved with. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let me emphasize that I am pleased with the progress of this timely initiative, focusing on mainstreaming adaptation into development planning. And as a co-host of this forum, I wish to extend my gratitude to the government of Sweden, Japan, and Asia Development Bank for supporting this initiative, and wish you every success in your discussion and deliberations over the next 2 days. As an old saying goes, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. This very important gathering shows that we are already getting an early start, and we are ready to go far together so that no one has to bear the cost of climate change alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellencies, highlighting the need of the adaptation and the knowledge, but most importantly, assuring your continued support and lending your support to us in future. With that, as you have already heard, that the government of Sweden is another key supporter of this adaptation work in this region, and also this is the Adaptation Forum 2010. It's my pleasure to invite His Excellency Mr. Stefan Thelander, Climate Change Ambassador, to deliver his speech highlighting global scenario of climate change adaptation. Your Excellency.
Thank you, Ministers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to be here today at this first Asia-Pacific Climate Change Adaptation Forum and its theme, Mainstreaming Adaptation into Development Planning. Sweden is very pleased to support not only this forum, but the driving force behind it, the Regional Climate Change Adaptation Knowledge Platform. We appreciate and support in particular the regional dimension of this cooperation. In addition to the necessary local and national measures, regional cooperation will be essential to deal with climate change. I also would like to pay tribute to the United Nations. It has a unique role to play on a complex issue like climate change in supporting actors at different levels, exchanging experiences and lessons learned, best practices and norms and responsibilities. It also means that the UN must be strong, efficient and united, working as one UN at country level, drawing on its strength and comparative advantage in different areas, and supporting public and private institutions at different levels from local to global. The starting point for our work on climate change is clear. Climate change is an exceptional challenge. Urgent action is needed. Someone said that the climate problem is water, water, and water. It's about too much water, too little water, and water at the wrong time. Climate change enhances the problem of uncertainty, challenging our efforts to attain a sustainable development. Climate change results in an added layer of risk in the daily lives of millions of people, as it was expressed by the Commission on Climate Change and Development in its report a year ago. Developing countries, in particular the least developed, are experiencing the severe impacts and the poorest and most vulnerable are the worst affected and least able to respond. At the same time, awareness of this problem and challenge is widespread. But so far, we have not been able to make enough progress in the global efforts to come to a legally binding agreement. I was in Tianjin in China a couple of weeks ago at the UNFCCC negotiations, and the process has not yet delivered the results that we need. Almost 3 years after Bali, we are still struggling with procedures and process, with documents that grow and are filled with new brackets, options, alternatives, and obstacles. If this continues, we will not achieve what we all agree is necessary, an agreement with sufficient commitments on a number of elements, but especially on mitigation, to achieve the 2-degree target. The Copenhagen Accord was a start. We now need to anchor that in formal decisions and then enhance the efforts further. We must do everything we can to make sure that the process delivers. We must show political will and leadership. We should support the constructive and determined efforts of Mexico as the incoming COP presidency, and we should support the chairs of the working groups. If we do not succeed, the adaptation efforts and the challenges to sustainable development will be even greater. Again, hardest hit will be the poorest and the most vulnerable. But there are also good signs. A lot is happening. Last week, I attended the African Development Forum in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. The United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, together with the African Union and the African Development Bank, are doing a very impressive job in creating a basis for African action at global, regional, national, and local levels. The forum presented a wide range of activities, initiatives, and hope. And this is good news. While global action is facing considerable difficulties, work on the ground is picking up speed and determination. We see examples of this everywhere in the world. Yesterday, there was a discussion arranged by UNDP here, a regional discussion on financing, a very, very promising and constructive dialogue. In the Copenhagen Accord, there were commitments for fast-track financing as far as the European Union commitments go. This is being delivered, and we will report on this within the next few weeks. I can also confirm to you that when it comes to the Kyoto target, Sweden is beyond and well below its target, its commitments, and so is the European Union, fulfilling its Kyoto targets. A lot is happening, but it's not enough. We need both top-down and bottom-up change, and we need to enhance our efforts. We should make every effort possible to move on all levels. We should not be discouraged by bad news, problems and obstacles at one level, and we should not allow it to prevent us from moving on all other fronts where change and action is possible and necessary. That is why this Asia-Pacific Climate Change Adaptation Forum is encouraging. We need to act. Public and private decision makers need information and support to act and to respond effectively to the climate challenge. And here is a paradox. We do have plenty of information about climate change and its threats and challenges. At the same time, we do not know enough. Looking within country borders, assessment of physical and socioeconomic impacts of changing climate often do not exist at the level of detail that is necessary for making sound decisions. Collection of data, information, and knowledge is being enhanced, but often not enough to address the real issues on the ground. When information exists, it is not collected systematically and not easily accessible by the relevant stakeholders. Decision makers may not have the tools, staff, and capacities to interpret the information and to turn it into viable priorities and adaptation options. We need to address such gaps in information, gaps in institutional setups, and in capacity and knowledge. The regional platform is working with many of the national partners present to contribute to filling such gaps. Some key areas of action have been identified. It's about assessing the main sectors of interest, doing impacts and vulnerability studies in sectors through a cross-sectoral approach. It's about moving away from projects to programs, capacity development, especially through training for trainers. This forum is a unique opportunity to gather technical experts, scientists, policymakers, to help share knowledge already available and to discuss further collaborative steps. This forum should make knowledge on climate change adaptation available. It should establish linkages within and among communities, national, regional, and global processes and practices. This forum should help us address the need for capacity building of vulnerable communities. Climate should be mainstreamed. All adaptation programs should be integrated into national development policies. This way, climate action can be a part of our efforts to ensure sustainable and environmentally sound development. We need to start by enhancing and strengthening our existing coping capacities for climate adaptation and for climate resilience. Building resilience is key to address the impacts of climate change. And we need to do this together, to push for action at all levels, through all actors, public and private. Let us look for the good news, using that to show those blocking progress that change is happening, that our determination will be strengthened, that we will enhance mitigation efforts and address adaptation needs, making sure that additional layer of risk is not preventing a sustainable and environmentally sound development. On behalf of the government of Sweden, I wish to congratulate all partners involved in this adaptation forum, as we are starting to make progress towards addressing one of the most important and pressing issues of our times. Climate change is a challenge. Let's use this opportunity to intensify our efforts to meet this challenge together in a determined manner, using all our strength, wisdom, and resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Stefan Thalander, for your deliberation. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency's Minister for Science and Technology, due to his another commitment, has requested for an excuse of his unavailability to stay with us for the whole opening session. So, Your Excellency. With that, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned that from the Pacific, we have His Excellency's Minister for Natural Resources and Environment of Samoa, and it's my pleasure to invite His Excellencies to deliver his speech, particularly highlighting the perspective of the adaptation need in the Pacific region. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to express our gratitude and appreciations to the government of Thailand for hosting this very important meeting on the regional need for climate change adaptation here in Bangkok. I would also like to convey our sympathy for the flooding now occurring in the north part of Thailand. And I think our prayers that no life is affected in these calamities. And this is the sign of our man-made disasters. I think I would also like to indicate our appreciations to the UNEP for this commitment to have this Asia-Pacific meeting to follow up and to take action. I always stated in many meetings like this, or even the global one, it is about time to take action. Meeting is things of the past. Us sitting around here knowing that people are affected is a disaster by itself. There are many lives in around the world, especially the most vulnerable communities and small island countries such as us in the Pacific.